Well, I know that this is already inevitable. I already knew this is gonna happen after all those recent questionable decisions made by Team TPC. It sucks. Like I know I'm gonna keep sounding like the a broken record. This game had so much potential, but throughout the years, I've seen many times that Timmy and the Pokemon Company squandered it. And I already mentioned those factors earlier, all the way to the licensed journeys and, of course, the single move path. Like, they had their chances to redeem the game, but they screw them up each time. And that sucks. So, anyway, I'm glad that Pokemon Champions has arrived, but I really need to work more on my mental game with it, because I've been lacking patience since my recent grind to the point that I was already tilting after all those losses and those one-sided setups against team compositions having a lot of the top 20 Pokemon in the that dominate the current regulation. So it is what it is. Have to accept it. And with Unite esports scenes coming to its last legs, you're gonna have to suck it up, even if it psychologically hurts to do so. And I don't mean dabbling too much on the top 20 Pokemon. No. You're gonna have to learn how to adapt, even if it can be frustrating at times. Alright, let's do this. Yeah, really, it's really sad. But they made terrible choices throughout the years, and look what happened. A lot of the content creators have left. A bunch of them already moved on. In fact, one of them already left to the point that she doesn't even want to play PvP games on stream anymore, and that's understandable. Like I know it's a common thing that most players would complain to the devs regarding the usual problems that affect their respective games. But damn, I really don't know if Timmy really takes the overall feedback from questionnaires very seriously. Like, I really don't get it. So here it is. One of the big changes that have been showcased out the new update. The moveset icons can now be shown on the right side, which is, of course, a long overdue quality of life feature that has been recently added earlier on the Chinese version. So I don't know. I don't know how convenient it's gonna be, unless of course you play Pokemon with the two move sets, the two move pads. I mean, although I have to be worried now about the Umbreon buffs on the side, of course. The Skeldurge buffs Because now I think that after those recent Snarl and Hyper Voice buffs, I have a feeling that Brock's gonna be a serious threat. But it won't not be in the same level as that of Greninja. No, it's not even close. Or not even Yveltal at its launch form. But it will be a threat. I will not be surprised if there's going to be a lot of Skeldurge picks and bans after those recent buffs by Worlds. Yeah, no point ranting anymore. Now that there's not much left at stake by beginning September. Like, that is it, man. I don't know what else will they announce by Worlds. If there's anything redeeming that's worth the announcement, yeah, I will tune in. But unfortunately, I have to accept it's worth coping at this point. Like, I will not be this hyped because even if with the Pokemon releases, I'm not sure if this game's gonna stick around for long. Especially after the Aeos Crown Finals. Like, I know it's inevitable that it's gonna happen. Like, just like almost every esport after years of being around. But it's really sad. Like, I remember the LG era. Those, yeah. Back in the first Worlds and then the second one, where LG dominated. And then Japan catch up, and now they're already dominating a lot of the tournaments as of late. Yeah, we're in this post-LG era with Dignitas, EG, and Team Peps, and Fanel, the former world champs, dominating. Oh yeah. So I also learned in regards to the changes in the upcoming World Championships. So now they have expanded to cover more, to add events for the Middle East and North Africa, just for Go, TCG, and of course, Pokemon Champions. But of course, since they still have yet to play it safe. Okay, first up, real quick. They should have banned the bird next time. Because obviously, Yveltal wasn't even touched. Like, sure, there was a bug fix, but it doesn't matter because it only covered the effect of the Dark Aura ability on the Unite moves of Machamp and the Rapid Strike Urshifu. Yeah, they already lost by the draft. I ain't surprised. Uh, this was already inevitable. Like, from my point of view, the last good things that this game brought were those two maps, the Groudon and the Kyogre. Although, of course, the latter one was very questionable in its initial form due to the how OP the Kyogre buffs are to deal with. There would have been a little room for comebacks in case there's a tight team fight just for that mythical Pokemon. Yeah, I wish I could be this excited, but the damage has already been done. So now, by next year, no more big circuits. It's just that tournament and those qualifiers. And I'm not even sure if there will be anyone brave enough to step in and hold a large scale grassroots Pokemon Unite tournaments. At least online. Doesn't always have to be a LAN. So I wonder who's gonna step in. I'm not sure if Spraggles could do it again, just like he did last year. Because even he's already wondering if he will still make Unite content by the time Worlds is over. And when that Aeos Crown mini circuit starts. But it's most likely he's gonna be picked as one of the casters. For that event. Unless, of course, he would announce that he will finally step down after years of casting Unite. uh, well, as for that long-time pro... Oh, wait. Chris Heroes. Who, yeah, he started as Heroes of the Storm Pro, and then he switched to Unite just to make content. And I know he's under contract by Dignitas to do so, but damn, that's already a low blow to him regarding that esports scene, esports circuit being a goner and being reduced to that one tournament. The one big global tournament. That's gonna hurt. But it was already expected because I'm gonna sound like a broken record again. It was already expected because of those terrible choices that were made. And you know, the old saying goes, you choose to make your bed like that just to keep the game afloat. Yeah, and the consequence was, of course, what's left of the player base had to sleep on it. And I don't know. Will there be more new items coming out by the time they'll be done with doing big circuits? I know, but I highly doubt that it will happen. They're just gonna try to squeeze out whatever remaining ideas they can come up with. Because they're trying to keep the game somehow fun. Even though I will admit, this game feels way less fun now. After those recent changes. Since December and of course March. So yeah, this is definitely the last game I'll ever stream. I know if I'm gonna pop out of retirement again, and when I have a fresh hardware, just for, at least more importantly, a capture card and a more stable Switch. Because I'm already having thoughts about wanting to get at least a second-hand OLED. Because, alright, so as you know, that Pokemon Champions is already available on mobile and Switch. And of course, that even includes Switch 2. Unfortunately, was recently announced by the Pokemon Company International that all the official tournaments will be held exclusively on the Switch ports, not mobile. Which absolutely sucks for those who just want to play a game only on their phones. It goes to show, it is typical greed at its finest. It's like they're telling anyone aspiring to compete to just buy whatever's left of the fresh Switch OLEDs and the Switch 2. And as you know, that in at least about 2 months, the Switch prices are gonna go way up. I don't know how high will the price hikes are, but yeah, it's already confirmed they're gonna raise the prices on those Switch 2 units, which is a bad sign. Although the bright side will be this February. Well, this February, that's obviously good news for anyone who wants to buy a Switch 2 within that within next year. But unfortunately, it's gonna be bad news for someone like me, because I will not be able to buy any more fresh Switch OLED units, which obviously will be an affordable alternative, so I can compete in VGC tournaments. Yeah, I think judging by how easy my competition has been, I think a lot of people already had their spirits crushed as of late because there's nothing at stake for them to compete by starting this September, except for that upcoming tournaments that's gonna start with a bunch of qualifiers all the way to the final one in March next year. Like, there's not much at stake to grind for. Like, now that they already removed the game out of the world championships, I think this is it. Yeah, it had a good run. Yeah, there's no point getting tilted. There's no point being this, quote, passionate, trying to get good, because I don't know, man. There's not much rewards to chase. Like, this is it. Now I'm just being calm. It's not because I'm on PMA mode, because I already learned the news that will have already been inevitable. Like, who wasn't even this shocked that they will finally pull the plug? And I know it sucks, but I said this before. They made bad choices to counteract the good choices, recent good choices like they made, which I'm talking about those Groudon and Kyogre maps. So there's not much else for me to say. Like, it's inevitable that the esports circuit will be significantly downsized. And yeah, from a financial standpoint, I understand why they had to stop this, because of the obvious travel costs, and you know how much you're gonna have to pay just to cover travel expenses for qualified players, just for the World's invite, which they've already done that for years, and it's gonna end next month. Yeah, this is already inevitable. Grim reality, but that's just the way it is. Because you made these types of choices, you should know what consequences your scene's gonna get. Like, you made these questionable moves for years. Yeah, it's already inevitable. Like, it's bound to happen. Yeah, I know what's gonna be the future. It's just very, very uncertain. So I know, to anyone who will be brave enough to run grassroots tournaments to fill that void before for the Chaos Crown. I don't know how you all gonna handle this. But yeah, I think that's it. Like you already know, it's gonna happen anytime soon. Like, don't try to cope and pretend that, oh, they're gonna make a Pokemon Unite sequel called Unite 2. It's like you wanna expect them to do the same thing as Blizzard did with that so-called Overwatch 2, and look what happened. They made changes to the point they even rebranded the game to being just that, without the number. So no, don't get your hopes up on this so-called Pokemon MOBA sequel. I know they wanna spark these types of rumors just to cope for what they thought out their belief that that the end of Pokemon Unite esports would mean something this positive. Of course, it's not. And then the other thing, Pokemon Auto Chess. Yes, I already heard about the fan-made version of it, the one that has pixelated graphics, but the quote, the official one out of the Chinese version of Unite, I highly doubt they're really gonna release that globally, especially with the game's current state. Like, what's even the point of doing it if you're just gonna simply pull the plug on the esports scene? Unless if your idea of just trying to make the game fun again after abandoning your large-scale esports plans. I don't know if they will be that brave enough to somehow release that auto chess mode, which obviously it's not gonna be likely. Yeah, I know Typhlosion got nerfed, but I still think it's a threat. I know I want to go full MCS mode and pick Yveltal, but no, it's not worth the risk when the other attacker is an Armor Rouge. If it's the one that does actual CC like Gardevoir, yeah, I would take the risk of picking Yveltal, but not but not with this composition that doesn't have much crowd control. Although I would love to want Tricky Belto, but unfortunately because that bird hasn't gotten nerfed yet, so no. It's very likely they will still ban the bird wherever they can. Although I have a feeling that the certain buffs to a bunch of Pokemon could really counter that bird. Okay. Alright, let's see if that Kalava's Flame Wheel is easier to deal with now after all those nerfs. Because they already reduced its shield. Alright, I think so. So... yeah, I think this is it. No. You guys can have it. over. I would say, I think this is it. Like, well, that's it. I don't know what what just happened there. I'm on a roll. Yeah, you're surprised that I'm feeling less tilted after that esports announcement, because now that by September there's not much at stake. Looks like the psychological burden is already lifting away from me. Instead, that burden's gonna be moved to champions by the time I resume my grind there. Yeah, I really don't think the buff guard is much of a threat, but just doable. Yeah, well, I do agree with what a lot of the content creators say about the Suiko's recent balance changes. I really don't know what they really want to do with that legendary Pokemon, because it's been back and forth. Get buffed, and then you get nerfed. And then you get buffed, and then you get nerfed. Like, I can't... I can't even with Timmy. Can they just make up their minds now? Like, I really don't get it. Like, what is it? What is it they really want on that Pokemon? Like, alright, you did buff it one time and then you just nerf it next update, and then buff it again in a big balance update, another big balance update, then next one, you nerfed it. Like, what? What exactly does Timmy want from that Pokemon? Makes absolutely no sense. I know it would tend to be an OP pick in tournaments, but I really don't get what exactly Timmy wants from that Suicune. One update, they buffed it. Next update, they nerfed it. What a headache. And now it gets even worse. Well, all of those recent balance updates being legit, I don't know how legit it's gonna be, because, like I said, Umbreon got buffed again. So a bad feeling is gonna back to being the top defender, at least in tournament, in terms of picks. And yeah, as for Greedent being one of the top defenders for Unite API, it has a massive asterisk written all over, because of course, it has a lot to do with the profile privacy changes for Unite. That even affected the API as well. Why I do agree with some of the first why they could not fully trust the top Pokemon that dominate the meta now in terms of win rates alone. Cause yeah, you don't know who are the legitimate best players for each Pokemon on rank. Cause most of the pro gamers would just have their profile set to private, so it's hard to tell. Well, no point laning unless I reach level 5. Yeah, I really find it so weird. Why is Sweden the best defender in terms of win rate when everyone knows that Pokemon is so hard to use, regardless of moveset choice. Well, at least that was something. But the biggest question is, how good are the Gyarados buffs? Especially in the meta that is CC heavy. Like I'm really a skeptic, because I think most people will still prefer the Mega one over the regular. But unfortunately, bounce Gyarados is only good if you have a good CC support. Even with the buff shields, it will not make much of an impact. Unless you have a strong sustain. And speaking of sustain, that's what I just learned with the recent buffs on Rescue Hood. I mean, wow. Are they really trying to make healers look OP? Because I noticed the big percentage buffs that the big percentage buff the item gets. Oh well, that was rough. Oh, the old saying, you don't know what you have until it's gone. I know what the most Unite players are gonna have, but for some of them, they would even be excited with that esports scene being plugged, because they would think that finally they can now end this toxic relationship, because there's nothing much is at stake. I know this. Yeah, the big Unite moves ambush. Yeah, you're too late. Like, what now? After the AOS Ground Finals, what else are they gonna do? Because I know who's gonna be brave enough to run grassroots Pokemon Unite tournaments with UCS gonna be out. Yeah. Well, so much for those Gyarados and Umbreon buffs. If you still don't have a carry, why even bother? let's see how good our the Quackleval buffs are. Are they good enough to make it like function like a tank? Because I highly doubt it. Although I would say the buffs to Skeldurge, yeah, I think that Grok's gonna be worth taking seriously. Yep, look at how they change it. And then there. But it really sucks for the latest Pokemon since Zapdos. But then again, it's them just wanting to squeeze whatever remaining ideas they can come up with before this game's gonna be a goner eventually. I think these changes are good, but too little, too late. I know in rank it's back to being a threat, but let's see how worse Umbreon's gonna be in tournaments. By Worlds, of course. Like, they made that defender even more of an OP threat after those Snarl and Wish buffs. Yep, they even buffed Clefairy's gravity. They said it's not that wasn't threatening because of the slow startup. I don't think so. I think that move's gonna be OP from the looks of it. Oh, this is gonna be rough. Oh. Right, they're fighting together. I know this is a bad news. There's some bad news right here. If you can't take out that Clefable, this is it. And that Typhlosion too. Even with the nerfs, I would say that Pokemon is still a threat. Whoa, 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 whoa. I would have gotten rid of that Clefable. Alright, I think that's it. Yep, it's over. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna wrap this up for today. Oh, 68K. Well, it's been a while since the last time I did that much damage. Alright, so that's it for me.